Do you have a fight coming up, or maybe you're struggling with those pre-fight and nerves? Well, in this episode, we're going to be going over 5 different tips that are going to help you to manage those nerves, to manage that adrenaline dump before the fights, and get the best performance when it comes to that fight day. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like and share this video. And if you want to support the channel even further, make sure to become either a super fan or a VIP student to get access to amazing perks like choosing the topics that we're going to be going over here in our YouTube videos and live access to myself with webinars, podcasts, and so much more. And without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with tip number 1, trust the process and trust the work. Many times when we start something new or we're going to perform in the future, we worry so much. The idea of controlling or managing those nerves, managing overthinking, is simply just focusing in the present moment. If we can keep our minds in that present moment, it's going to be so much easier to focus and perform when it comes to that day. So work on the skills that you need to have. Now, if you are a beginner, really focus on your basics, on getting a good fundamental of your basic attacks like your jab, your cross, your hook, right, your low kick, your body kick. All the basic techniques need to be sharp. Get sharp on your defense. Make sure your defense is sharp. Make sure some counters are sharp. Sharpening the counter and having at least one counter for the jab. The jab is the most used technique in any combat sport. So if you have a counter for the jab and it's one of your first fights, you're already ahead of your opponent if they don't, way ahead. So if you are beginning and just starting off your fight career, you need to just focus on the fundamentals. You need to focus on the basics and just sharpen that as much as you can, as much as you can. Now, if you're a professional, you have 40 fights, you might have a big fight coming up. It's pretty much the same thing. You got to focus on the work and you got to focus on that progress. If you start worrying about some future events that have not happened, and then that stops you from making every single day of your training the best quality as possible, that's just taken away. So make sure that you just trust the process. If you work every day, if you focus and get that quality work every day, that's probably going to give you the biggest advantage and the biggest part of what's going to give you that result in the future. You got to put in the work. You can plan all you want, you can visualize all you want, you can do all these extra things. But if you're not putting in the work every single day and staying focused and just trusting that that progress, then nothing really is going to happen in that future. You're not going to get the results. So just focus in the work. Forget about everything else. Focus in the present moment. Tip number 2. Now let's take it a little bit further. You already got it, that day-to-day dedication, making sure that we're staying focused on the work. Now let's take it a little bit further to prepare for that specific event. We can train with a focus for that specific event. So we're going to be simulating the event, simulating the fight, and putting it inside our training. So here is what I mean, and here are some ideas. When we The concept is that when we focus on the mind, we can control the body. However, when we control the body, we can also control the mind. So many times we want to do certain things in our training that are going to help us prepare the mind for that day. And what I mean exactly by that, for instance, let's say, and most gyms do this actually, let's say that fights are usually on Fridays and Saturdays. So if you do your sparring sessions on Fridays and Saturdays, and sometimes your harder sparring sessions on Fridays and Saturdays, then you're preparing your body and you're preparing your mind to be ready to fight on Fridays and Saturdays. Doesn't mean that you can't fight on other days, but your body through the schedule, through the days, through the years, is going to get used to that schedule to fight on those days and perform on those days, right? Now, if you want to take it a step further, for instance, let's say that most events they weigh in on Thursdays or Fridays. Well, maybe on a Thursday or Wednesday, then you might do a sauna session, not to cut weight, not to cut weight, but just for recovery. So then when it comes to that fight day and you are cutting weight in the sauna or Epsom salt bath or jogging or something that can be a recovery session, when it comes to that day that you're actually using to cut weight, your body's not gonna freak out because, well, it's Wednesday. I go to the sauna every Wednesday, no problem, or every Thursday, no problem. Your mind and body are relaxed, even if you are doing it to cut weight during that time. Now, again, we are preparing the body, and during these prepares, we're not actually cutting the weight. We're just doing the same movements. We're doing the same things that we would kind of do during that day, but without taking it to the extreme. In this case, will be cutting weight. We're gonna just do it as a recovery session, and then from there, you get to hydrate, you get to eat. Make sure you hydrate and eat. Do not do it as a weight cut session. You're doing it as a recovery session, and then we can prepare more for that specific event, for that specific fight. And you can be very creative. For instance, you can do scenario trainings, right? You can prepare for a specific opponent. You can even do like 5 round sparring sessions, all right? You do a 5 round sparring session a little bit harder with one specific training partner, and then quote unquote see who wins. I'm not all about like trying to win the fight, but maybe on that date is going to be a little bit different to kind of prepare for those types of pressures that are coming in the future. Or it could be a 3 rounder, right? You can do 3 rounds on the pads, 2 minutes or 2 minutes and a half, and just go really, really hard. So again, preparing for that specific type of work that's coming up in the future. If you're fighting 5 rounds, you might do some 6 rounds pads on with your coach, and that's gonna help you prepare, right? Because let's say if you're training for 5 rounds and then you fight a 3 round match, well, if you were to prepare for a 3 round match, you might have started stronger in your training sessions, right? Because the first and second round do count for a lot. There's only 3 rounds. So maybe you will start your training sessions a lot faster, a lot stronger when you're training for a 3 rounds as opposed to training for a 5 round. Now remember, do not forget about the number one tip that we talked about. And I'm going to keep coming back to it because it's extremely important. These are the 10%, and you'll hear me say this in many of the videos. This is that 10% that's going to get you above and beyond. But if you do not have the 90%, which is building that strong foundation of skills, defense, offense, counterattack, and balance, time, and distance, right? Then none of that's going to matter. You can prepare all you want for a specific opponent. If your skills and your time and your distance suck, then there's no way you're going to be able to execute, no matter if you know your opponent's weaknesses or whatever's coming in the future. It doesn't even matter. So make sure that tip number one is solid. Once you have that, now move to tip number two by doing simulations of the performance, simulations of the fight that you will fight to prepare even further. Now, tip number three, building awareness of the nerves and overthinking. So when we overthink, again, it's all about being in the future, being anxious about the future, or depressed about the past. So as soon as we have these negative thoughts, all you got to do is just be aware of them. Be aware of them. As soon as you're aware of something, now you can change it. If you're not aware of your nerves, of your overthinking, then how are you going to change it? You need to be aware of it. So as soon as you get this negative thoughts, just be aware of it. Now you're able to change it. That brings us to tip number four. Work through strategy and not emotion. I'm not saying to be completely emotionless. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is not to allow our emotions dictate our work. Again, we need to focus on that work. It's the difference between dedication and motivation, right? If you're dedicated, it doesn't matter if you feel bad or if you feel unmotivated that day. You're still gonna go out there and put in that work. But if you're just going off your emotions and you're letting your emotions run your life, it doesn't even have to be in the fight game, just in anything, then you're not gonna get that work done. So tip number four, really goes in conjunction with tip number one, where we need to build a strategy, we need to build a schedule and stick by that schedule. We need to stay busy. Many times when we can't control our mind, we need to control the body. And if we build a schedule where we do certain tasks every single day and we're dedicated every single day, we put in the work every single day, no matter what, you don't need to think at all. Don't think, just do. Do not think, just do. You have your schedule, you just go to class, do your training, do your strength conditioning, do your cardio, do whatever your schedule that you have built tells you to do. Don't think, just do it. Just do it and keep working, keep working, keep working. Lastly, tip number five. Now that we are aware of that tip number three, aware of our nerves, aware of overthinking, then we can flip it. We can flip it. We can flip that negative energy to positive energy. We're always thinking of what if this, what if that. Well, think of the best case scenario. Think of the best case scenario and then think of something positive. So, what we're doing is not completely stopping our emotions or stopping the energy, stopping the negative thoughts. Like, it's very hard to stop something, but we can easily redirect it or easier have it be redirected towards something else and use it for positive as opposed to trying to stop that moving train that's coming at us of all these thoughts, right? We redirect it towards our work. We redirect it towards our positive thoughts, using it to help us get that energy because all of this is energy. All of this is energy. So we got to use it. Even if it's negative or positive, we need to take that energy and then take it and redirect it towards the work, redirect it towards the vision, towards the fight, towards what you want. So again, once we are aware of something, aware of the nerves, aware of being anxious, overthinking, then all we got to do is just flip it. Start thinking of the best case scenario. Feel it in your emotions. Raise your hands up, right? Feel it in your emotions, and you are the champion. You are going to win this fight. You are going to win this performance. If it's in your life, get this job, excel in your career, all these things. And these are the five tips that are going to help you the most to hopefully get the best outcome when it comes for that day. Now, even if you do not get that outcome, one thing that at least brings me peace is that I gave it everything I got. I did everything perfect as best as I can. I controlled everything that I could control. Now, things that I cannot control, well, I cannot control them. And then that's it. That's it. Then I gave my best. Sometimes it is your time to lose. I'm not saying that, okay, like it's destiny and you have to lose. No, like sometimes we need to lose to be able to level up even further, right? To learn from our mistakes, to open new doors that would have not been open if we didn't lose that fight, or maybe lost that job, or all these different things, lost a relationship, all these different things, and I put us on different paths that are going to open up new doors for us. And then we always just come back to that number one. We put in the work and we trust the process. So again, if you were to take anything from this video, just take the number one. Know where you're going, put in that work, and trust the process. Put in the work, trust the process. Do not think, just do. Do not think, just do. Once you have that dedication, once you have that train moving, right? Then you can add all the other tips that are going to help you flip that energy when it comes negative. Being aware of the nerves, making sure that we prepare for a specific fight or a specific event. All these things are going to help you out to to go above and beyond. But without the work, without staying focused on the work and putting that work in to build the tools needed to get there, nothing's going to happen. Thank you guys. I hope that this video helps you out in your next fight, helps you prepare for any fight in the future or any performance that you're going to have in the future to control and manage those nerves. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share and like this video, comment under the video. It really helps the algorithm notice the video and share it to other people that might have trouble with the nerves just like you are right now. And it can help them go above and beyond in their performance. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel even further, make sure to become either a super fan or a VIP student. It greatly helps the channel grow, and it also gives you amazing perks like access to myself, live streams, podcast and being able to choose the videos that we'll be creating here as far as content. Huge thank you to those that are already super fans and VIP students. I shall see you very soon in our live streams. And for everybody else, make sure to just become one of our teams, one of the family. You are going to love it. Thank you and see you guys next time.